Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Monday, August 15. And so I'm making a slight change on the count in that we're looking at this now as wave 1 and 2 here, and then a nice strong third wave up here that's not quite finished, and wave 4 and then wave 5 here. Now what I don't know at this point is if that we have wave A or wave 1, but in both cases we'll see a reversal as wave B or wave 2 here, and then seeing a move up. So I'm not sure what the count is, but basically we'll be following this track in both cases. So 3, 4, 5, and then A, B, C back here, and then moving up. Now I don't know if we go up for wave C at this point. It'll probably be on a bit more of an angle, or we just continue to push up into a much stronger wave 3 over here for this. This is what we're talking about with the US stocks and US stock market, and probably even if you don't trade the US markets, it's probably a good idea to have a look at the video today on that, and you'll get a bit of an idea of how we've come about to that point. So we need to go in here and have a little bit of a look at things. We know things all the way through here. It's been such a struggle. It's been so volatile. It's been quite difficult. I mean, I haven't traded it myself, but I mean, I know this market anyway. I mean, I've traded futures contracts on it, you know, right back into the 80s. So I know it's one of the toughest markets to trade. It's much easier to take a longer term view of it, but then you need futures contracts for that rather than CFD contracts, because the CFDs can get a little bit expensive in the overnight financing cost of things. But CFDs are fantastic for little tiny trades and short trades and this and that. You just need to be, it's like all tools, you need the right tool for the job, that's all. So we're grateful that they're there. I mean, you know, it was very difficult to short stocks in Australia until CFDs came along, you know. The options were there and the futures market had BHP and a few others, but the CFD market made it quite nice. In fact, when you used to short with CFDs, you used to get the financing cost, you know, on the short side, but now you're paying it both on the long side and the short side. Well, in fact, when CMC first came over here, CMC markets, they called themselves deal for free, so there was no commissions whatsoever to trade, but nobody believed them and they didn't get any clients, so they changed their name back to CMC, and off they went. They started charging people and people started signing up. It's a funny old world, isn't it? Anyway, onwards and upwards. So let's go into the 4-hour chart. So yeah, one of my this is what we're talking about last time we spoke, which I'm going to sort of remove this now for a bit, and I just need to talk a little bit about, I mean, we've pushed up here and everything's sort of going fine, isn't it, in a way, but I mean, it's pretty sort of tough inside, but I'm sort of running out of time for this to move up, so I'm thinking about a top coming in sort of sooner rather than later, you know, looking at this as wave 1 here and 2 here. What I've done on the 1-hour chart, I think it was, let me just double check. Yeah, so the 1-hour chart, I had wave 4 sitting here, and I just need to take you through what my problem is. I'm wondering if we've got wave 1 here. I'll just move this wave 4 for a moment. Wave 2 here, wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and then we still need to move up here, of course, you know, but basically some kind of ending scenario, you know, because I think that in a couple of sessions we could be you know, at the end of where we need to be, you know, and it has been pretty rough along here. But one of the things is that you can see that these lows here have been lifting quite nicely, and we're actually lifting off this number. We didn't quite get back there. We came back to the 61.8% mark, so we can still view this as wave 1, but I just want you to have a look at the US video and just try to understand how far we've actually got to the upside. So if I just bring Apple across for a moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and done. Do you know what I mean? So it could be, and this wave 3 could be brought down here a bit further and so on. And so not a lot of time before we get to the top, so we just need to be a little bit careful about what we do here. We did talk about trades on Friday, but the market did drop down lower. So I had a thin line here and I had some thin lines up here, but that would have been in US times over here, so you wouldn't have got those. But maybe, and then it end up dropping back in in here in a volatile way, very difficult. So maybe you took this one that came across here at this point, I just don't think this structure's to the upside's finished. It could be a B wave, like an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here, but the stochastics is looking pretty good down here for this, for a move back at this point. So if I was going to trade this today, then I would still need it to get back up, and it'd have to show me some strength. It would have to get back up into 7,065 and sit on there as support. It does look like, even if I put wave 2 over here or something or other, it's not a very nice, it's probably up for 1 here, back for an ABC, back for 2 here, then up for 1 and 2 and 5 waves up here. So it's probably 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. That's 5 waves, so that's okay. It's pulling back a little bit deep for a wave 4. Even if I took it to this point here, it's pulled back 50%. So I wonder if we got some sort of wave 1 and 2 up in this space. Anything below this 7,050 here, then you would have to look at it as a B wave to the upside. And then a C wave down here, which would in turn probably be in line for making that wave 4 at that point, if that was the case. But I think everything should just sort of follow up. I think this should just there might be some bit of movement down here. When folks know that the market's going up, all the retailers will jump in, and the people with associated memberships to the futures exchange, they'll just see those orders, they'll just see how many there are there, and they'll just match them, and then they'll give them a bit of a shove. They know where you put your stops, and then they'll reverse it. So you just got to be careful about the squeeze in the morning, but normally it's done by about 18 minutes or something, 15 minutes or something. But yeah, the more that you can see it sit in 65 and then build on 72 and then build on 80 and build up that way, that would be the way to go at that point. Okay, so that said, yeah, I'll just go back to I just want to go back over and look at this. So basically, in a way, we're looking for wave 3, 4, and 5 up here. So we're kind of we want to find the top of that wave 3 there. Okay, that's what we want to be sort of looking at, and that means that we don't need this A wave over here for the time being. We don't need the B wave here. Don't need these. Let's just clean up a few things here. Can I use any of these? No, it's all good. I'm always at my max objects on the charts. So we're looking at this here as that wave, that will be a wave A or something there. So we're looking for the top of this wave 3 here. I mean, look, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could play out like that. Otherwise, this wave 4's got to go over here. I think that also too, I mean, this wave 4 here will end up pulling back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. So if you're long in here, that's okay. We probably won't get involved in this leg. We could trade this leg because the extension's in wave 3, so we should see a length like that here. So that should take us up higher, depending on how high this goes. But the money trade will be, once this gets in the top here, then we'll see some sort of larger ABC pattern to here, which will either be, I'll put this in here, we can just tweak it a little bit later. So we'll either have wave B here, or we'll have wave 2. So that will be the thing. I mean, I would like to think of being wave 2, and when I look at some markets, I feel like that might be the case, but I don't have any sort of evidence of that at this point, but there is a bit of a weight to that, but we'll see how we go. It won't make any difference, but making money this year will be, from here on in, will be this leg here, hopefully. And if it's the wave C, it'll be on more of an angle like that. And if it's wave 3, it'll be, you know, it'll be stronger. We'll see it stronger at the beginning here. We don't have to wait for it to be up there, but just saying, you know. So that's going to be quite interesting at that point. We'll have to check where the other banks are at that stage too. So I think just in sort of mulling this back over is that for the time being for this year, you know, probably up until October, we'll see, you know, October can be quite devastating. Well, it's normally September that's devastating, isn't it? So we're going to get that wave B there. I always think October, but it's actually the facts of September. So anyway, that's sort of where we are. So we won't get involved in wave 4. We'll get involved in wave 5, and we'll probably see how this goes. There'll be parts that we might be able to get the third wave here and get most of that coming down here, and then this will be the focus going up here, and we'll see how other markets are looking at that point, you know, the Apples of the world and the Bitcoins of the world. Because look, the crypto market, even though it hasn't grabbed attention but not traction yet, so but it is the new tech. It is the new tech, you know. So you know, we got to sort of give it its due course. And its current low down here with Bitcoin, it's got a whole series of 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s. So it could be building into a big bull market. I don't know if that's the case, but it's kind of looking like that. We'll see how it holds up, but we'll see how it holds up through this move back here, because Bitcoin's just following these market, you know, the equity markets to a point. So we'll see how that goes. But if Bitcoin keeps developing that bullish pattern, that will make all of these bullish, and it'll make this wave 1 here rather than wave A. So we'll keep an eye on Bitcoin as we do, but that's sort of where we are for that. For CBA, this move down here is a little ABC correction, so we should see it try to push up here. I'm happy with wave 1 here and 2 here. I'm happy with this 1 and 2. I'm happy with this 3 here and 4 here. This wave 5 here can actually sit on top here. It can sit on top here in both cases. I've put it here, but this could be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave over here as well. For that can sit there, but we should have another move up. But this wave 4 might get more complicated here. So if I was sort of betting, then I would rather hold a long trade than a short trade, put it that way. But being close to this number here, we wouldn't normally buy until we took out some high or some strength here. So yeah, but we should see it push up, but let's just wait and see for a little bit. But it won't be much anyway, you know. That's the thing. So we have to wait for these 5 waves to finish, and then we'll have some sort of ABC pattern here. This will be the one that will be better for trend traders, you know. Okay. Now this is BHP in the US, and it's on 50 ticks, and it's around the 15th of July here. I think that's something about right. Anyway, about that. So what I can see here, as I've probably mentioned before, we can see 1 and 2 here. This third wave is not the best, but I was thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the third wave here, the fourth wave here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up here. Some sort of movement up here. Now, because it's a bit of a rough 5 waves, but I think once it finishes, we'll see some sort of ABC pattern this will top out with the rest of the markets, as I've been talking about, just with the ASX200 there and through the US markets and US stocks as well. So this pullback will be quite interesting. But the reason I'm showing it for is because this is copper, but this is also roughly the same same date around the 15th, give or take, you know. So if we're counting 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then have an ABC here, then this is the one we want, and we can push up at that point, right? And so this will be the same for, well, copper's doing the same thing here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 that we've been talking about. So we're looking for a top here. So we don't need to find the top, but we want that pullback in here. So that will be quite helpful for BHP. Okay, and of course we've got iron ore. So with iron ore here, as I've mentioned, we've got a bit of a tricky situation over here where we can look at this as the A wave here, and then the B wave here. We could look at this as 5 waves down, as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Not a very nice finish on here, but the thing is that we've counted 5 waves up to the A wave, then we've waited for the B wave to come back, and then we think we're going up for the C wave here. So just to think, we could be in a C wave, or we could be in wave 3 to the upside. They're just the facts, you know. This little move in through here is 5 waves. So if we go and have a look at this on the 100 ticks, this little area here, might need to bring in some more info. Okay, that's enough. So the last time we spoke about this, I've changed these green, what they were blue before, and I've changed them to green. So that gives us that A, B, and C that I've got on the daily chart. So we talked about going long here, and because we had this ABC pattern, and we've got this other impulse wave up through here now as well. So it could be some sort of A, B, and C to this top here, and that's it. This little move in here, you can see that this is in 3 waves here, this one. So it's corrective. So we've either got well, this is probably 5 waves here. It just doesn't look like 5 waves, because basically it doesn't look like 5 waves because you've got kind of a triangle pattern coming in on wave 4 here. So it'll be down for 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, and A, B, C, D, and E here, and then so probably 5 waves here, probably some sort of B wave here, and a C wave down here. So I'm thinking there may be another move down here, but it's moved up quite high. But either way, this looks impulsive here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it will top out here as well. And then if it's going to do the same as copper, then we should have some sort of pullback in this space. So this will be kind of interesting, because it will line up with BHP and copper and so on. So we should bring Glencore into the fold as well. I mean, they're big copper traders. They just banned one of their Chinese copper distributors because there's a whole lot of copper missing. Let's be pissed about that. Anyway, the other point here too with iron ore, I mean, if this is 5 waves up here, then it's going to be pushing up here higher, isn't it? So we could probably expect the iron ore market, BHP RIO, and to kind of struggle to the upside as well for a bit, you know, but I don't think we should get sucked into it. If we get a classic trading levels pattern on that number, then, like, you know, some strong pattern like this, then we can enter over here for that. We can go long in those other markets at that point. But in the meantime, I don't think that we need to do anything. So copper is topping, BHP in the US is topping in that little 5 waves. We've got a little bit more here. We've got the general markets with the same pattern topping here. This could be the same as the ASX here, really, couldn't it? It's much the same sort of pattern. And come to Aussie BHP. This also looks a little bit that could turn into 5 waves here. We've got 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, some fourth wave here. So we need about, you know, 3 days up here somewhere, and that could give us 5 waves up at that point too. So we could see 5 waves up here perhaps, and then an ABC back again. So I wouldn't go long here until we've got a nice support on the 40. I mean, I can rejig this here. We've had it as 1 and 2 and 3 here, but I know I can put this, we'll leave wave 1 there and have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 2 here, then 3, 4, and 5 here. So we can call a low in, but I don't have the setup yet. But I'm just saying it is setting up in a way that we've got 5 waves coming in here. So we may have a trade in this point over here for this, but it's just not there yet. Rio just hasn't got itself on the 100 here. I was just looking at different ways to look at this. We had it like this before, an ABC here, and then looking for 1 here. But if the other ones are going to go up, then maybe I've got that wrong, and we need to put wave B here as some sort of A, B, and C here, and put the C wave over here. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to do anything here for a while anyway. So nothing to be sort of had here. You know, we need to finish off here. We're not finished with this area yet, whichever way you want to look at it. And FMG here, we were looking for a little move of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we should see that push up, finish that off there. That will give us an A, B, C. Could it be a third wave at that point? Yeah, possibly. But if that was going to be the case as well, then we would look for a classic trading levels pattern on top of the 20 and go long from that point. We want that number as support. That would get us past that 3 wave move at that point, and there'll be plenty of space because this is a big correction, right? So we'll see this like well above 25. We'll see it up at 30. So we've still got plenty. There's plenty there for us. We're not missing anything, but we just need to be careful of the downside. So we're not past the possibility of the downside yet. US spot gold. We talked about this top area here. It's a little bit, you know, I've had it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. It's possible to put wave 4 over here, but you just don't get a nice 5 wave structure down here. It counts better as 3, so we're just going to stay with that. It has pushed up a bit. It'll probably push up a little bit more, you know, taking the top out here and all of that with it. Not that interested in it, but as I mentioned before, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, the same as copper and all the other ones, yeah. And then we want this to move back down as an ABC, and then we're interested in it over here. So it'll be the same old story, you know, there's nothing to trade and suddenly everything is tradable, but just be aware of that. So how does that translate into stocks? Well, as I mentioned before with gold, here, spot gold, when we're coming back for this move here, it'll move up a little bit further, take the high. It may or may not. It looks like it will, but it doesn't really matter. It'd be nice if it does. And then we get this ABC back here. So when we get this wave 2 back here, that will be a bit of a, it'll jump out of that, you know, lane that it's in and create a new lane here. So when it pulls back for that wave 2, I think that we'll pull back down here for this wave 5 and finish off, and then they can all move together at that point. I think that's the case. But in the meantime, if something weird happens and the 20 here becomes a nice tested support, well, then we'll go long. But otherwise, we have to wait for this to complete here, and then we can make a move on it. The US dollar, I still don't have any answers for this yet. I'm sort of, I mean, it should be doing the opposite to the S&P 500 and that, you know, but the S&P and all that are topping, so all this here is going to be, this is just going to get more sort of spiky here, so we'll see how this goes. I've put the wave 5 in here. It's not the best fit, but it's the best fit of them. So we've got this as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the third wave, fourth wave. I have to put the fifth wave in, even though I haven't made a new low here. And I'll look at this as a corrective wave for the time being, but it looks impulsive. I mean, So it could be down for 1, back for 2, down for 1 here, and ABC back for 2 here. It could be something like that as well. What I'm trying to see here with this market is I'm just trying to work out if there's a top in play here. I understand so far this move down here can be corrective as an A wave into B wave into C wave, finishing here as well, and also finishing down here. So I'm just not there yet with it. So we'll just see. I mean, the only other way I could do this is re-engineer it from the S&P 500 side. So looking at the Australian market here and lining this up with the S&P 500. And if we were going to line it up with the S&P 500, well, then we would be looking at, well, we've been waiting for that wave 4, so we can put that in. So we'd be looking for one more move to the upside, and then we'd be looking for a corrective move, which in the S&P 500 would be that wave 4 if you've been following the S&P 500 today, and then a wave 5 to the upside for the S&P, and then a much larger A wave, B wave, and C wave here for the S&P, and then up. So if this was following the same thing, it would be something like this here. It'll be, so I've got to think it out a bit further. So then then that's what it would look like, and then the US dollar would be doing, you know, the opposite of this, the inverse of this. So it means we need to change things a bit. We could look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So instead of looking at this as wave 1 here, we'd look at this as wave 3 and take that wave 1 away and that wave 2 away. So that would be a better look for it all, but the wave 5 in orange would need to be smaller. And of course these here would need to come out at this point, and still a 1 month behind, so yeah, it's a slightly different count. Anyway, with this trade here, we're going to put the stop up here now. So you may have that long position, you may have another long position. These are just part positions too, by the way, because they're just thin green lines. And we want to be taking the money off the table anywhere above wave 3. So this is probably some sort of little 1 and 2 starting here. You know, we've definitely got a nice clean correction here. If you wanted to go long, you can go long above that top there. So we'll look for 5 waves up there. It won't be as long as this one. It'll be something like this one, but maybe a bit shorter, but somewhere close to the 72 for this. And we may need to call it in as wave 3. That would be lining things up with the S&P 500. I know hitting 72 will you know, will turn the market lower at that point. But anyway, that's where that is. You could probably lift this stop a little bit further under that spiky low there if you wanted to. Okay, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.